It's time, ladies and gentlemen, to re-enter the world of 2000 AD. Today on Speed Painting with Peps, we're going to clear off the desk and paint ourselves the Vigilante, aka Blanche Tatum. This model is for the 2000 AD Judge Dredd game by Warlord Games. So, as you can see, the model was primed black. I gave it heavy dry brushing of witch elf flesh. Then I picked out some areas that I knew needed to be a little bit brighter, so the spit gun, the belt, and their eyes. I'm going to kick things off with a nice dark blue for the bodysuit, and while I'm slapping this on, we'll talk about the actual character. So, Blanche Tatum, known as the Vigilante, she brought fear to Megacity 1's top criminals as she systematically killed them in revenge for the death of her husband, who had killed himself after being squeezed dry by a loan shark. Dressed in a black bodysuit with an executioner's hood, the Vigilante struck silently and efficiently, leaving nothing but a small card saying, "Justice is done." The judges finally worked out who she was and discovered she was an ex-rookie judge who was expelled after an unauthorized liaison with the man who became her husband. She was eventually cornered after finishing off the last racketeer on her list and walked into the judge's bullets. Her actions inspired a rash of copycat killings across the city, and even today she is remembered by many as a martyr rather than the criminal who took the law into her own hands. It was a great strip in 2000 AD. Such an iconic character from the 80s. And I think Warlord Games did a great job with the model. Now, initially, by her description, she should be all black. But I felt that made the model look a bit dull if I just slapped down black. Also be like, hey, this week on Adventures with Peps, we are using one paint. And that would have been it. That would have been the end of the video. So I decided to mix things up a little bit. I used a nice dark blue. Kind of like the thought process of the judges. I obviously didn't want them to be all black, so I used dark blue on the bodysuit. And I feel this is a nod to almost her being the rookie judge that she once was. So she has this dark blue bodysuit. I'm going to do the hood in a pure black. Obviously flesh tones for the eyes, and then some grey for the pistol, some brown for the leather belt. That kind of thing, just to give her a little bit of colour. I understand she is meant to be all black, but it just wouldn't look right. It wouldn't look interesting on the tabletop. So having a little bit of difference on the shades is definitely going to help. And it is such an interesting model. Just to do a monotone, I think would just not do the model justice at all. So luckily the model is now done for the blue. I think it's looking pretty badass. Definitely suits the model. It's a very dark blue. You could almost call it black if you wanted to. It's kind of that comic book black where they have to use blue to highlight the colour. We then moved on to the very small amount of flesh tone that she has, which is just her eyes. There was no way I was going to actually paint proper eyes here, so we're just going to rely on the Reichland flesh shade to give the impression of there being flesh underneath. I'm going to use my finger because I flooded it. I do apologise that we've lost focus here, which is a bit annoying. The camera does like to lose focus on these little models. Now, as you can probably hear, my voice is still a little bit croaky from my bout of pneumonia, but I am getting better slowly, so expect more and more videos coming back. I've definitely got to do an alien one soon. I want to get the alien eggs painted. But there you go, look. She's starting to look pretty damn cool already. We're now going to do the belt in hardened leather. Not a very exciting stage. We're just going to paint up these pouches, make them look brown. The thing I really liked about this character was the fact that she's an ex-judge, or an ex-rookie judge, I should say. Meaning, highly trained by probably the deadliest people in the city. She knows what she's doing, and she knows how to get away with it, which is why she succeeded for so long. Where maybe somebody else would have been found out quicker. She knew how to get away with it. I would have loved to have seen head options for this model. either this Executioner hood version or the non-hooded version, because I remember the artwork. She looked stunning. It was a great piece of artwork for her. She looked cruel, she looked intentional, she looked very cold-hearted, especially after the death of her husband. The artwork in the 80s Judge Dredd is very hard to be beaten. I know there's some great artists at the moment like Henry Flint, but there's something very iconic about the black and white 80s. It was a beautiful time, beautiful times. Right, we move on to the Gravelord Grey. We are going to use this on the spit pistol. Once again, very quick stage. This model did not take long at all. In total, I probably spent, with dry time, 12 minutes. And I made it more complicated for myself because I added color. Like, I end up using 4 paints in total. A blue, a brown, a grey, a black. Oh, flesh tone, 5. I used 5 paints in total. Realistically, I could have got away with less. Could have done 3, grey, flesh tone and black. This model is super easy to paint if you're looking at somewhere to begin. Highly recommend this. It's super quick, super easy. You'll have a great model at the end of it. It's covered in texture. It takes these army painters really, really, really well. There's plenty of places for it to create shadow. Now, I was a bit worried. I always get worried about using black. I'm not a huge fan of it. Sometimes it comes out just looking like a really dark grey. Other times it comes out too black. I've tried shaking it, I've tried watering it down, I've tried using it every which way. It just doesn't really work for me the way I would like it to. If I want something black, I'd rather actually just paint it black and dry brush it. Use Gravelord Grey is normally my go-to. But for this one, I had to give it a go. So I made sure the hood was nicely dry brushed to show the texture. And we're just going to hope that the hood dries up nicely. And it's about here that we're going to probably call it quits. Make sure you like, subscribe, all that good stuff. In the community section, I'll have the RPG stat line for her. And then we'll also finish off the episode with the glamour shots. So as always, I do truly appreciate you sticking with me. And those of you who have come back following my little break for a couple of weeks there. It's going to be slow progress. I'm not going to rush back into doing voiceovers for these YouTube videos. I've got to rest my voice. So we'll do a couple of videos a week. But until then, I do appreciate you stopping by, and I'll catch you all very soon. Cheers for watching.